Sophia will share the story of how I took control of my life and stopped my husband Xander's harmful actions. For privacy reasons, I'll use fake names. As a well-known lawyer in my state, staying anonymous is important for many reasons. Let's not focus too much on how Xander and I met, got married, and later divorced. It turned out the love wasn't mutual, because Xander cheated on me. The signs were clear: he started avoiding me, spending a lot of time outside, and going on business trips. Even though I was successful as a lawyer, Xander didn't respect me because I earned less than him. One day, when he was away on one of his so-called business trips, I decided to check his old laptop. I found a hidden Facebook account that confirmed my worst fear: he was cheating with a woman he found more attractive than me. He had often criticized my looks, leaving me heartbroken and angry. I confronted him right away. "Xander, are you cheating on me?" "I have proof," I said. Xander coldly replied, "Sophia, you're just not interesting anymore. You're always busy with pointless cases, ignoring me. Besides, you're not a supermodel who can captivate me with just your looks." Confused, I responded, "What are you talking about, Xander? I have a demanding job, and you knew that when we got married. I haven't neglected you. It's you who stopped coming home and refused to talk to me." When I finally confronted him, I expected some kind of apology, but his cold response shocked me. He blamed me for everything, even justifying his cheating, though his reasons made no sense. I stood up for myself, pointing out his mistakes, but instead of defending himself, he turned cold again. Then he casually said, "I'm glad you found out, Sophia. Now I don't have to hide my beautiful girlfriend. We'll have a perfect life together after I divorce you. Finally, I'll marry someone worthy of me and my name." His words hit me like a ton of bricks, sending a chill through my body. As he talked about divorce, he not only insulted me but also made it clear I wasn't good enough for him. He even claimed a mistress would be a better wife. Tears filled my eyes as he proudly talked about his affair. This was the man I had loved for over 10 years, and his words shattered me. Through my tears, I asked, "How could you say that, Xander? All these years, I'd been by your side, honoring my vows, and valuing you above everything else." His response was even colder. "Well, Sophia, it doesn't matter anymore. You're just not right for me. Now, I'm a proud business owner. As a woman with average looks, I've learned that a fancy law degree won't define my worth." Feeling completely insulted, I said, "How could you, Xander? I'm a capable woman even if I don't fit your narrow idea of beauty. I've been a good wife to you, and now you're thinking about divorce?" Xander coldly corrected me. "I'm not thinking about it, Sophia. I've already decided to divorce you. I'm done. I don't want to be with you anymore. I'll file soon, and I've already hired a great lawyer. You better move out before I come home. I don't want to see your ugly face anymore." A few hours after he hung up on me, Xander sent the divorce papers through a friend who looked at me with pity. I took the papers, shut the door, and cried, feeling crushed by the reality of my wasted years with such a horrible man. But then, I decided I wouldn't let this break me. I was strong and would take control of my life, teaching Xander a lesson. When Xander's friend handed me the papers, he mentioned Xander wanted to drag the divorce out. At first, I didn't understand, but then it hit me. Xander had promised that I would get half of his business if he cheated, a detail I had forgotten in the emotional turmoil. Now, I understood why he wanted to delay the divorce. He was hoping I would give up my rightful share. Determined not to lose what was mine, I immediately called his lawyer and scheduled an appointment. Within 2 days, I moved out of Xander's house and back to my childhood home, which was in my name. I texted Xander, saying I had already moved my things out. "I've taken my ugly face and body out of your house. Good that you've come to your senses and aren't making a fuss," Xander replied, bragging about his lawyer's reputation, but I calmly warned him, "I won't give you my business, that's for sure. For now, stay away from me." I was ready to face whatever came next, firmly deciding that any communication would be through lawyers from now on. When he insisted I empty my house, it only made my anger grow. It's amazing how anger and hatred can push you to be more determined when faced with such disrespect. My mind cleared, and I almost found myself laughing at Xander's ignorance. He had no idea who he was up against, and I doubted his lawyer, Jake, did either. I arranged to meet Jake at a cafe. When he saw me, he visibly shook, only calming down when he recognized me. He looked confident at first, but not enough. Jake was a decent lawyer, but he wasn't prepared to face someone like me. Xander had never considered me a threat, so Jake was completely unready for this meeting. Jake seemed nervous, his hands trembling, but I decided not to intimidate him further. He wasn't the one who had wronged me. "Hello, Jake. Nice to see you here," I greeted, noticing his surprise. "If you have any doubts, let me clear them up for you." "Yes, I am his wife." "Ma'am, I'm so sorry, I wasn't expecting you to show up," Jake stammered, clearly flustered. "The surnames don't match, because I got married after I received my law degree. I use my maiden name for official purposes," I explained. "Oh, I see," Jake muttered, clearly uncomfortable. "So, I'm guessing you want to drag out this case, like my client told me." "Your client has been misleading you, Jake. He's the one who wants to prolong this case. Isn't that what he told you?" I confronted him directly, aware that my reputation as a lawyer spoke for itself. Jake squirmed under my gaze. "I don't need an answer from you, Jake. I've known Xander for over a decade. I married that idiot. For God's sake, I know exactly what's going on in his thick head." Feeling a bit sorry for Jake, I decided to enlighten him about the situation. "Since I know you and it's not fair on you, I'll tell you the truth about this divorce," I said, watching Jake carefully. "What do you mean, ma'am?" Jake asked, clearly confused. "Did my dear husband mention to you that he cheated on me?" I asked, observing Jake's face closely for his reaction. His expression confirmed my suspicions. Jake was caught off guard by my revelation. I won't lie, it stung and hurt my ego to admit to a colleague that I had been cheated on. It's not an easy thing to admit, but I knew better than to let my emotions show. No matter how humiliated I felt, I still had the upper hand, and I knew that. Jake, however, had no idea what was going on. "Oh no, I don't think my client has told me about that," Jake said, clearly taken aback, "but he did warn me that, in his words, you would make some baseless accusations because you want to ruin him." "Oh, you poor thing, Jake," I said, "your client has played you like a fiddle, but it might make you feel better to know that Xander thinks you're one of the best lawyers out there." "Well, that's a big compliment, but I will never measure up to you, ma'am," Jake confessed. "I wish he had told me his wife also practices law. He only told me you work at a law firm." My husband never took my accomplishments seriously. He always undermined my work and influence, and it was foolish of me to stay with him for so long. However, signing the prenup was the smartest thing I did. It saved me. Jake seemed stunned when I mentioned the prenup. He looked shocked, and the term seemed foreign to him. It was clear Xander had conveniently forgotten to tell Jake about it, perhaps hoping I had forgotten too, but it didn't matter. Jake now knew about it. "There's a prenup in this marriage? Your husband didn't mention that. Do you have any proof, ma'am?" Jake asked, still taken aback. "Oh, I do have plenty of proof, Jake," I said confidently. "I brought the papers with me." I had a feeling Xander would try to avoid facing the consequences of his actions, but not on my watch. "I'd really like to see the papers, ma'am. Also, I think I'll need proof of his affair if you have any," Jake said, still shaken. "Don't worry, Jake, I brought everything with me. Like I said, I don't want to drag out this divorce. The sooner it happens, the better for me." I handed over all the evidence to Jake, messages, pictures, and documents. I had everything in my handbag, ready to go. I knew this case was going in my favor. Jake examined each piece carefully, looking a bit beaten, and then said, "I see that you have solid proof of everything, ma'am. I had no idea about all of this." I nodded. "I figured that out, Jake. I also know how difficult it is to work with unreliable clients, especially when the opposing party has a strong lawyer on their side." Jake agreed. "You're right about that, ma'am. I think that's all I need for today. I'll have a serious talk with my client before deciding how to proceed with his case. Someone will contact you soon, but I can't say it will be me." I understood what Jake was hinting at but didn't comment on it. I thanked him for his time and left the cafe. I went straight to work, preparing my own documents for the divorce. The sadness I had felt earlier was gone, replaced by a driving rage. I was determined to make sure Xander paid for what he had done, and I knew he had no way out of the mess he created. The next day, Xander called me, even though I had told him not to contact me directly. It was funny, but not surprising. I knew he'd eventually find himself in this situation. When I answered, he sounded furious. "What the hell did you say to my lawyer, Sophia?" Xander demanded. I replied calmly, "Oh my, look who's calling after telling me to stay away. What happened with your lawyer, Xander?" "Xander, stop playing around. Sophia, tell me what you told him that made him quit today." "Your lawyer quit today? How sad." "Xander, I guess you should have been upfront about your situation and who they'd be up against. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a freaking nobody. I won't let you take my family business." "Oh, I'd like to see you try, Xander. I'll hire a better lawyer. Just wait and watch. I'll destroy you in court. You'll come begging for mercy." I smirked. "Well, sounds like a plan, Xander. Good luck with that. But here's a word of advice from a lawyer: make sure your new lawyer knows about your affair and the prenup." With that, Xander hung up on me. I couldn't help but chuckle. He was in deep trouble, but still had no idea. He would probably try every lawyer in town, hoping someone would represent him. I was well aware of my reputation, and I knew that people wouldn't dare cross me. Anyone foolish enough to believe Xander's lies would soon learn the harsh truth when I presented them with the evidence. Xander thought he could make me beg for mercy, but I knew it was only a matter of time before he'd be the one begging at my door. Sure enough, one morning, as I was getting ready for work, there was a knock on the door. It was an odd time for anyone to show up, and my surprise grew when I opened the door to find Xander standing there, looking weary and defeated. I invited him inside, not wanting to make a scene in front of the neighbors. When we were inside, I wasted no time. "Make it quick, Xander. I don't have time to waste on you. We agreed to communicate only through lawyers," I said coldly. "Yeah, about that. I haven't found a good divorce lawyer yet," Xander said, his voice lacking the confidence it once had. I couldn't help but mock him. "Oh, that's sad for you, Xander. You better hurry, though, because I hear your mistress has been dying to marry you." He sighed, looking more defeated than I'd ever seen him. "I'm not worried about her anymore. Listen, Sophia, we need to talk. You've been sabotaging my lawyer so they wouldn't take my case. That's very unfair." I immediately laughed. The nerve of this man to accuse me. That's an amazing joke. "Xander, let me clear that misconception for you. I haven't sabotaged anything. It's your stupidity that's causing all this trouble. Should I remind you how you lied to your lawyers about the affair and the prenup? Do you think any lawyer would want to represent someone as unreliable as you? Besides, I'll admit that my name in this profession might make some people hesitate, but I actually have a solid reputation." Xander's expression shifted, and he looked like he finally understood. "I know that now, Sophia. I've tried being open with lawyers too, but none of them are willing to help me. That's what happens when you try to go against an ironclad prenup. Xander, you should have thought your affair through. The damage is done, though. No lawyer in their right mind will fight for your cause now." I stood firm, watching him squirm as he realized the truth. "You'll be giving me half of your business, Xander." His face said it all. He didn't want to lose his precious business. He had hoped that by dragging out the divorce, I would eventually give up on demanding half of it, but that wasn't going to happen. After a few days of realizing no lawyer would take his side, Xander finally resorted to his last tactic, begging. "Sophia, please, you know how much this business means to me. Take everything else, but please don't ask to split the business," he pleaded, tears welling up in his eyes. "Why not, Xander?" I replied coldly. "You're the one who put in the clause to split the business if you cheated. You think I'm going to give up my rights that easily? I deserve it after everything you put me through." Xander's words were pitiful. "It was all a mistake, Sophia. Believe me, I've put my relationship on hold because I know it was a big mistake. Maybe we can give this marriage another try. This could make us stronger." I burst out laughing, unable to contain it. The audacity of this man was beyond anything I had ever encountered. He was actually asking me to take him back, as if I'd be stupid enough to do that. I knew that he had paused his relationship with his mistress, but that was a fleeting move. He was desperate, and I wasn't going to fall for it. He had crossed the line, and there was no going back. Xander was completely wrong if he thought I would go back to him. I had already made the mistake of marrying a man like him, and I had learned my lesson the hard way. I knew exactly why he was desperate to get back with me. It wasn't about love. It was about the business, and he couldn't stand the thought of losing it. "Are you delusional, Xander? I didn't come this far in life by being stupid. You want me back because you don't want to split your business. We were happy together? That's a joke. You've made your bed, and now you'll lie in it." Xander's pleas were pathetic. He promised to cut off his mistress, swearing that everything could be fixed, but I wasn't falling for it. I had my golden chance to leave this sham of a marriage, and I wasn't going to let it slip away. I have no reason to go back, Xander. This is my chance to get out. You're going to pay the price for everything you've done. You've shown your true colors, and now you'll reap what you've sown, I said, already done with the conversation. Xander kept begging, but it only gave me satisfaction. Seeing him vulnerable was a form of revenge in itself. I remembered all the nights I cried, the hurt and betrayal I endured. Now, he was the one begging, and it felt good. I moved on with my life. I hired someone from my firm to represent me, as I wasn't a divorce lawyer myself. I wanted minimal interaction with Xander. After weeks of trying to change my mind, Xander finally accepted reality. He knew that if he pushed me, I would take the case to court, and the humiliation and money wasted on lawyers wouldn't be worth it. He asked for a mutual split, and the prenup made it easy for me to get exactly what I wanted. With proof of his affair and the prenup on my side, I had the leverage to take half of his business. Xander wasn't happy about it, but he had no choice but to sign over what was rightfully mine. We offered to buy me out, but he had no money left. He had spent it all on his mistress, who now wasn't even speaking to him. She realized that he wouldn't be rich anymore, and nobody wanted to date her now that they saw her for what she was, a gold digger. Xander's troubles didn't end there. With half of his business gone, his income took a serious hit. He had to sell his house because he could no longer afford it, and now he was renting a condo that was a far cry from the mansion he once lived in. Even after all of that, he tried to get back with me again, hoping to regain full control of his business, but that was never going to happen. His business was mine, and there was no way I would give it back. As for me, I was thriving. I appointed someone to manage my share of Xander's business, and everything was going great. I upgraded my lifestyle, bought a new mansion, and was living my best life. My income from both my law practice and the business was more than enough to support my new life, and I couldn't be happier. In the end, the divorce worked out perfectly for me. I didn't get played by Xander and his mistress. Instead, I ended up ruining their lives and making mine better.